folks, and welcome to the Horror Corner. Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Horror Corner. I'm your host, Sean Patrick Erschen. This week we are counting down the top 10 sci-fi horror films of all time. Or at least in my personal opinion, of course. You guys might have different picks, and I'd love to see you guys do a response video if you'd like. Let's start off, as I usually like to do, with a couple of honorable mentions. Films that just barely missed the cut, and this time I definitely had a real tough time not including some of these. The first one being From Beyond, a classic from Stuart Gordon, based on H.P. Lovecraft's work. Starring Jeffrey Combs and Barbara Crampton, who you will find later on this list. But yeah, From Beyond is fantastic. What amazing practical effects, some of the best I've ever seen. Just a wild, wild movie from Stuart Gordon. Next up is Night of the Comet. Yeah, really super fun, super 80s movie. I just love it. It's just a blast. This whole town gathers together to witness a comet that's coming, and they make a big shindig of it. And what happens when the comet finally comes is it annihilates everybody, and there's only a few remaining survivors. So yeah, just an absolute blast. Love this film. And of course, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I mean, this movie is just like an enigma or something. I mean, it's so bizarre, it's so strange, it's hilarious at times, and it's creepy as hell sometimes, but one thing it is just damn fun. And here we have not one, but two, a double shot of killer robot movies, which came out in the same year, 1986. Deadly Friend, very kind of forgotten film from Wes Craven, but I absolutely love it. And of course, Chopping Mall, you might know as kind of a, robot slasher film, starring the lovely Barbara Crampton as well. And alright, let's get into it. In at number 10 is Event Horizon. Excellent film, which actually failed pretty badly at the box office. It cost about 60-something million to make it, and only made like 25 million or so. Fantastically made film with a great cast. You got Sam Neill, Lawrence Fishburne, and man, this movie is kind of bonkers, though. It's almost like it's like Hellraiser in space. It's pretty brutal. It's pretty nasty gore, And man, this movie's awesome. Next up, we have Westworld, which is one of my absolute favorites from 1973, starring Yul Brynner and James Brolin. Fantastic film. I feel like if we didn't have this film, we might not have had, Jurassic Park or The Terminator, for that matter. I just love the concept of it, and it's just like such a fantastic adventure, as well as being scary and a great sci-fi film. Westworld's like this amusement park that takes place in the Old West. It was just something I would love to do, I wish I was there. But of course, some of the gunslingers and Western folk are played by robots, And of course, what happens in these movies, as always, is the robots blow a gasket and go haywire and start killing people, and that's where the fun begins. But Yul Brynner as the gunslinger is especially relentless, much like the Terminator later on, we'd see in 1984. Next up, speaking of the Terminator, we have another film from Arnold Schwarzenegger, Predator, absolute classic in sci-fi and horror and action. Similar case to another film later on in this list that you'll see, also starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. But I mean, Predator is such a fantastic monster. The design of the Predator is just so sick. It's amazing, so original. And it's such an original film. And on the surface, it might seem like the typical Arnold Schwarzenegger action film, but there's so much more to it. It's pretty brutal, it's pretty scary, and yeah, it's awesome. Now, here's one that might throw you guys for a loop. Trancers. Absolutely love Trancers. It's my favorite Charles Band movie. And Charles Band actually did direct the original Trancers. And I feel like this is his masterpiece, his opus, you know. It's my favorite film in the Full Moon canon. And I actually love the whole franchise for the most part. Once you get to like 5 and 6, it gets a little too campy and cheesy. But the first film is just a fantastic sci-fi horror adventure, you know, with Jack Death, you know, played by Tim Thomerson, and you got Helen Hunt in there in a very early role before she became a star. Yeah, absolutely love this film. It's just an absolute blast. It's an excellent sci-fi horror film, you know. Next up, we've got a two-way tie for number 6, and that is The Blob. Yes, both the original classic with Steve McQueen and the remake from 1988, both excellent, and I don't know what it is. I can't decide which one I like better because I love them both, you know. The Blob just has a real quirky, old-school, classic sci-fi vibe to it. Almost like a, kind of like an old-school exploitation film, but it's just... I have to say the effects in the original hold up quite well, surprisingly well. Like that scene in the movie theater when the blob comes through the wall and through the movie screen. I mean, that looks amazing. But the effects in the Blob from 1988, the remake, is just unbelievable. Some of the best practical effects you've ever seen, you know. So yeah, so I just put both of them. I'm not gonna decide because they're both great. In their own ways, you know. And next up in at number 5, it's Re-Animator. Yes, Stuart Gordon appearing once again with Jeffrey Combs and Barbara Crampton once again. In an absolutely fantastic, bonkers sci-fi horror masterpiece. This film is just nuts. It's super gory, super funny, and... man, it's just insane. It's insanity, I tell you. And Jeffrey Combs, as I said before, is my favorite horror performance of all time, you know, as Dr. Herbert West, with this serum that reanimates the dead. Just a brilliant movie. And brilliantly directed by Stuart Gordon, of course. Next up, we have The Thing. I mean... no surprise here. You knew this was going to be on the list. I mean, what a fantastic film. One of the greatest remakes of all time. Directed by John Carpenter, no less. With that brilliant score by Ennio Morricone. And with some of the absolute best practical effects ever in film. You know, just amazing. This film is terrifying. It's just got everything. It's just a perfect blend of sci-fi and horror. It's just a masterpiece. And in that number 3 is The Terminator. Yes, from 1984, which I just think is the absolute perfect blend of sci-fi, horror, and action. Equally, all three represented just perfectly with that masterful direction from James Cameron, that brilliant score that is just terrifying. It just sets that tone of a cold, bleak, dark future, you know. And obviously Arnold Schwarzenegger as the Terminator is just absolutely terrifying and intimidating as hell. Just a relentless cyborg killing machine sent through the future to take out all the Sarah Connors in the world until he gets to the one that's responsible for the huge resistance that takes place in the future. So they send This cyborg killing machine to the present day, which at the time was 1984, to cut the problem off at the source, you know. In that number 2 is going to be another remake, which is Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Now, when it comes to remakes, this is my favorite remake of all time. And I just think it one-ups the original in every way possible. I think it's much scarier, the practical effects are fantastic, and the cast is brilliant. I mean, you got Donald Sutherland, Brooke Adams, Leonard Nimoy, it's just on and on. It's just amazing. Fantastic film, great cast, great acting, great practical effects, it's scary as hell. Yeah, I do consider the 78 version to be the superior version. Even though I do love the 1956 version, most definitely. But I feel like that one is more classic sci-fi, where the remake, I feel, is definitely sci-fi horror, without a doubt. And in that number 1 is the absolute masterpiece that is 1979's Alien, directed by Ridley Scott, starring the amazing Sigourney Weaver and just a brilliant cast. You know, Yaphet Kotto in there, Tom Skerritt. Yeah, I mean, this movie is just absolutely terrifying, and it holds up so well, so beautifully all these years later, you know. In 2025, this movie is still a masterpiece. And a lot of that has to do with the amazing set design from the artist H.R. Giger. Yeah, and the brilliant direction by Ridley Scott. And of course, this film created a heroine for all times with Sigourney Weaver as Ellen Ripley. And the legend was born, all started here, and a great franchise was born, and just a fantastic film, and the greatest science fiction horror film ever made, in my opinion. What a brilliant design for the creature, what a terrifying creature, the alien, the xenomorph. I mean, this movie is insane and unbelievable. I absolutely love it. Alright guys, that's it for the top 10 sci-fi horror films of all time, and thank you for joining me, Sean Patrick Erschen, in the Horror Corner. Tune in and stay scared. Good evening, folks, and we got some brand new merchandise for you over at www.thehorrorcona.com, and that's CONA.com. Representing the Horror Corner. Great new design. We got the Morbid Hour live stream there, you got the Horror Hangout live stream there, and you got my nemesis, the Dark Fate. So grab your t-shirt over at www.thehorrorcona.com. And we also got this beautiful new mug. Look at that. Very, very cool. Thought that came out really nice. So grab your merchandise today over at www.thehorrorcona.com. Folks, don't forget to grab your Sean Patrick Erschen gear and represent the Horror Corner. Also, check out these awesome mugs we have. Perfect for your coffee. And definitely check out the Horror Hangout live stream t-shirt and represent the legacy of the Horror Hangout. Check out the link in the description below this video.